Ford Fiesta, imported from Germany to California because Fiesta has what California needs. It was designed for stability on Europe's high-speed autobahns. It was engineered for continued response with front-wheel drive, rack and pinion steering, and Michelin radials. It has California EPA ratings of 43 miles per gallon highway, 30 city. Ford Fiesta, the feeling of Europe right here in California, at your California Ford dealer.
This is News Center 4, the 11 p.m. edition with John Schubeck, Stu Nahan Sports, Pat Sajak Weather, and Robin Groth with a Nightside Report. Now here is John Schubeck.
Thank you very much, Don Stanley. Good evening, everybody. The death toll continues to climb tonight from a spectacular head-on collision of two passenger buses in Mexico last night. There are now as many as 42 dead, another 40 injured. That crash happened on Highway 2, about 25 miles east of the border town of San Luis. Two Mexican passenger buses smashed into one another when they tried, one of them at least did, to avoid hitting a stalled truck. Today, all that was left was a smoking skeleton of the two buses on the side of the highway. The heat during the accident was so intense, some of the bodies may have been completely consumed. Some of the survivors arrived in San Diego today to tell the grim story of what happened.
The roads were wet. It just stopped raining. It was fairly clear. But they just drove like hell anyway, you know, and it just seemed like it was bound to happen, all the accidents that we saw on the way down, left and right. And
Did you hit a VW just before the...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He didn't, huh?
Like I said, there's a truck parked on the side of the road. The bus came out real quick to pass, and we hit, you know, both right-hand corners, left-hand corners of the buses, yeah.
There was really no way to avoid it then?
No, there's no way to avoid it. It happened too quick. Like I say, our bus driver should have slowed down when he saw that truck pulled over on the side of the road for the first place.
But he did not?
No, no. It was too fast. He never even had a chance.
None of the Americans aboard the bus have been reported as dead, but identification is slow. Many have, of course, been burned beyond recognition. The dean of the world's high-wire artists, 73-year-old Carl Wallenda, today lost his life when he confronted a strong gust of wind on a wire in Puerto Rico. Wallenda had been cheating death this way for more than half a century. Today he was promoting a circus 10 stories up between two high-rise buildings in San Juan. The event was being televised in Spanish as a gust of wind proved too much for Wallenda to handle. Despite the fact that 5 members of the Wallenda family have now been killed in falls, Carl Wallenda's nephew, Stephen Wallenda, walked a wire over the animal cages of the Oakland Zoo today, just 3 hours after his uncle was killed. No plans to change his line of work. Police in Arcadia tonight are asking the public for help in locating a 2.5-year-old boy named Roberto Sanchez. Little Roberto was with his mother at the Santa Anita racetrack today in the paddock area, when somehow Roberto was taken away by an older woman. Roberto was last seen wearing a blue jacket with green shirt and green pants. The woman described as being between 50 and 60 years of age, wearing a white raincoat and also transparent rain boots. Anyone with any information on the boy is asked to call the police in Arcadia. When we come back tonight, a report on the talks between President Carter and Prime Minister Begin. They didn't go well, and we'll be able to see that in their faces tonight. There were some embarrassed faces in Los Angeles today on the people behind the so-called reunion of the Beatles. First, this time out.
The Datsun B210GX, an astonishing 48 highway, 36 city. But at Datsun, we are driven to give you more. More winters, more summers, more springs, more years per car.
Nobody demands more from a Datsun. And Datsun, we are driven.
Would you believe I have a whole coordinated wardrobe by Palm Beach on this hanger? It's their 4-piece suit. The suit you can wear 7 different ways. Business, casual, sports, informal, And every way you wear it, it's right. With Palm Beach four-piece, you're ready for anything. Palm Beach, all America's tailor all year round for almost 50 years. Call toll-free for where to buy Palm Beach in today's Dacron polyester.
The Warner Brothers Stan and Reg proudly present the Prefab Four, the semi-legendary Ruddles who made the 60s what they are today. New from Warner Brothers, 14 great tracks, 20 full-color pages of their lives, their loves, their music, their trousers, all on Warner Brothers.
Do your own income tax again, Harry?
You bet.
I went to H&R Block.
Block? What?
Block finds ways to save I never would.
Like
cutting $300 right off my tax bill because I paid for the babysitter so my wife could work.
300?
What they know can save you dough. Bye, Harry.
Oh, could I have that back, please? We could save you money. That's my #1 reason why we should prepare your taxes.
Pope Paul appears to be recovering from a bout with the flu. Though canceling his regular Wednesday audience, the pontiff did appear at his studio window today, and he is expected now to offer Mass once again on Easter Sunday. President Carter and the Israeli Prime Minister Begin parted company in Washington today, apparently as far apart as ever on any Middle East peace formula. More on the story tonight from Hillary Brown.
From everything the two leaders said today, it was clear that the talks over the past 2 days went nowhere. In his farewell statement, President Carter repeated the U.S. position that Israel must withdraw from the west bank of the Jordan River if it wants to make peace.
I emphasized to him the importance of reaffirming that all of the principles of Security Council Resolution 242 must apply to all fronts if peace negotiations are to succeed.
Begin implied that this would lead to the destruction of Israel by referring to the charter of the PLO.
Israel is still the only country in the world against which there is a written document to the effect that it must disappear.
Begin added that Israel had played its part in the peace effort by submitting what he called a positive peace plan. He repeated this later in a working lunch with Secretary of State Vance. Afterward, Vance conceded that the two sides simply had not been able to resolve their differences.
There are reasons for optimism in southern Lebanon tonight. United Nations peacekeeping troops have begun moving into position, and except for scattered gunfire, all sides appear to be observing the truce. Prime Minister Begin, meantime, remains in Washington, and tomorrow morning he'll be interviewed during a 30-minute NBC News special beginning at 9 a.m. here on Channel 4. Reports of a Beatles reunion in Los Angeles yesterday went up in a puff of publicity today at a news conference in Beverly Hills. Boyd Mattson reports.
A telegram had been sent to the members of the news media saying rock stars George Harrison and Rod Stewart would be present at the Beverly Hills Hotel today to announce a significant musical and cultural event. The rumors had been flying that involved was a Beatles reunion for a benefit concert in Los Angeles. Dozens of camera crews, still photographers, scores of reporters were on hand expecting something very big to happen. As the speakers took the stand for the news conference, it was apparent things weren't going to be quite as big as expected. There was no sign of Harrison or Stewart, and it was not much longer before the rumors of the Beatles getting together again was officially put to an end. The news conference was to announce a concert to be held in Los Angeles on May 27th and 28th, featuring top rock and roll performers in a benefit to aid the Interspeak organization in their fight to protect whales, dolphins, and porpoises.
What we are trying to do is focus worldwide attention through the universal language of music on the problems of the oceans, the problems of the cetacea in general.
Concert organizers talked about a lot of musicians who were supporting their efforts, but the organizers had to admit they had no one definitely signed to appear.
Project Interspeak is not in the business of putting the Beatles back together.
What happened yesterday was like some premature press which didn't come from our office, Project Interspeak.
The organizers said within a week they will have the major stars signed to appear and an announcement will be made. They blamed the Beatles rumor as the reason for the delay in the plans being finalized. Right now, they say Ringo Starr will MC the event. Fleetwood Mac, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, and numerous others may appear, but you just have to wait to find out. From Beverly Hills, Boyd Matson, News Center 4.
Most people more than likely have never heard the name Sonora Dodd. Yet the annual observance she sparked in Spokane, Washington, June the 5th, 1910, is still very much with us. Miss Dodd thought a lot of her dad, believed he deserved a good deal of credit when, as a Civil War veteran, he raised 6 children on his own after his wife died. The idea of honoring her father gained in popularity, and in 1924, President Wilson made it official. Third Sunday in June would be Father's Day. Today, Sonora Dodd died at a nursing home in Spokane at the age of 96. Next up tonight, the problems created by today's rain. Pat Sajak has the forecast coming up and a bright sign of better days ahead. Let's hope after this.
Fill her up, fella. Oh, I mean, Ms. Put in whatever Murph recommends.
Right, 76 unleaded.
Unleaded in my car?
Sure, 76 unleaded is the gasoline with spirit.
Is that so?
It's the cleaner air gasoline for most cars that run on regular.
Everything okay, Mr. Ruggles?
Yeah. About this girl, I mean, Miss.
Jill?
Yeah. Like her spirit, Murph.
Go with the spirit of 76.
Signore, with all those fantastic Italian sports cars, why did you buy a Volkswagen Scirocco?
È la più bella macchina mai vista. Meravigliosa, fantastica.
We can see it's beautiful, but what makes the Scirocco so great?
L'andatura, la velocità, la maneggiabilità.
Ah, the speed, the handling, the performance. That's why you bought a Volkswagen Scirocco.
Volkswagen does it again.
Ship and Shore. There's a new look in Kiana's shirt dressing. Prettier, softer. Ship and Shore. There's a new look in Kiana's shirt dressing. Easier, freer. Ship and Shore, color to color, print to print, with Kiana pants and skirts. For your kind of feeling, your way of looking. Sensuous always.
See and feel the Ship and Shore Kiana collection at all May Company stores.
Marge, we don't know a thing about the schools there.
Philadelphia is a leading educational center. There are 197 elementary schools, 15 middle schools, and 22 high schools.
How do you know all that?
I read the Beacon's survival guide. It tells you all about the city you're moving to. Sweet dreams, Irwin.
Marge?
I have a headache, Irwin.
For free survival guides to selected cities, call Beacons, the professionals. We're in the yellow pages.
The search for a 14-year-old boy who fell into the San Gabriel River in Norwalk at 5 o'clock this evening was called off tonight. The search for Jimmy Faravallo will resume tomorrow morning, though. It's all too painfully familiar to us here in the Los Angeles area. Flooded streets, mudslides, and the rain caused traffic accidents. That's what's happening today as our rainy season continued. In Sun Valley, part of Glen Oaks Boulevard was closed down by a mudslide near Lanark Street. There were also numerous minor slides along Foothill Boulevard and Two Canyon Road in that same general area. Cleanup crews worked from slide to slide, clearing most of those slides in a few hours. Los Angeles City engineers kept a close watch on the Verdugo Hill Cemetery in Tujunga today, a place where 30 corpses slid down the hill from that cemetery into a residential neighborhood during one of the recent heavy rains. Some of those remains are still missing, but there was no new slippage today. And in Malibu, some large ground pumps have been set up to suck the water out of the hillsides where some apartment buildings are in danger of sliding off the hill. More than $6 million worth of property along a 6-mile stretch of the Malibu is in danger of falling victim to the slides. Pat Sajak, we had a lot of action tonight in the weather. You're going to show us a picture of what it really was, the beautiful rainbow.
Yeah, some good and some bad to talk about. You know, last night we sat here talking about a gradual end of the showers. As we were doing that, a low-pressure trough was forming off the coast. It moved in during the overnight hours, and suddenly the light showers weren't quite so light. Here's a look at that low as it sat right on our part of the state this morning. Out in the Pacific, there's a lot of low cloudiness up off Oregon and Northern California, but farther out on the extreme left of your picture is a cold front, the tail end of which will move through here tomorrow afternoon and evening. And that could mean additional showers. But before we talk about what we might have, Here's what we have.